Okay, now I think what we've been waiting for, the time has come, and that is the presentation by our guest speaker, our plenary speaker. She's one of us, but she's also an extraordinary science communicator and an extraordinary passionate advocate for not only entomology, not only biology, but science as well. And that is Erica McAlister. Dr. McAlister is the senior curator for Diptera and Siphonaptera at the Natural History Museum in London. Erica seamlessly combines her profession as a dipterist and senior curator with advocating for entomology, mostly by tirelessly communicating to the public about the amazing world of insects. And as I wrote in a column earlier this year, she's a master of social media, which is not easy to do, using humor to capture the public's interest in insects, biology, and science in general. In 2017, she published the book, The Secret Life of Flies. Here's my copy that she kindly autographed for me, so I brought it all the way from Bozeman so she could sign it. And if you have not read this book, you must read this book. It's a fantastic natural history of the flies. She's the epitome of an accomplished professional entomologist who is also a passionate science communicator, as I said. And we're lucky to have her here tonight. So please help me welcome Erica McAlister.
Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. I may thank you or not thank you, depending on how well this goes. But for the honor of inviting me here tonight for the opening plenary for the 2019 Entomological Society of America's Conference. You may gather, however, I'm not an American. No, I'm a British. And I work at this fantastic organization, Natural History Museum in London. It is the best museum in the world. It is. I'm a little biased, I know that. And I've been having the fortunate opportunity to work there for about 15 years now, and I love it. It's a beautiful building. It's got the best collection in the world. It's got so many insects, plus it's got the wonderful flies. So I work all around the world on these. I get to go to some exotic places to do my field work. It's very glamorous. And I look at some of the cutest insects you could possibly come across. These, maybe only their mothers would love them. But I've come to realize in my time, in my 15 years of working on these glorious subjects, that my passion and my understanding of them is not really shared by a lot of other people. In fact, it's not even really shared with a lot of entomologists. Previously, I was having a medicinal gin and tonic in the bar, as one does as a British entomologist, and I watched another entomologist who could be here tonight swat a fly. He just swatted it. And I was like, oh, shame on you. So flies, they have had bad press. The only time they generally get all the big showbiz is when they're doing nasty things. They are traditionally seen as the vectors, the spreaders of disease, of filth, of pestilence, everything that's bad. Everybody probably has done what that entomologist done and has tried to swat them at some point in their life. So how do I persuade the public that actually these flies are amazing organisms? They're the best organisms on the planet, the best, as someone you know says quite a lot. How do I convince them that this is an important thing to do? Flies, for a very long time, have been described as the worst things. In this dictionary, in 1863, they were described, Beelzebub is described as the lord of the flies, the devil himself. Satan is the king of the flies. But here we go, the first taxonomic error of the evening, and look, how many pairs of wings has that got? Always, always, it's the bees. Everyone forgives the bees. It's the flies that are being blamed for everything. And this is not fair. Incorrect identification as you started it, young man, has often happened when it comes to flies. And people, because they don't like them, they want to get rid of them. Okay? They don't see that they do anything valuable. This is just one of the many websites. How to get rid of flies. Okay? Here we go. Repels moths, fleas, flies, and mosquitoes because they are all useless insects. Oh, look. That is not a bee, however. That is a fly. That is a hoverfly. And the thing is, it is a very important pollinator. And this is what the problem lies in. There's been quite a few entertaining taxonomic errors. I genuinely feel bad for these two. I really do. But as a dipterist, this makes me giggle to my core, and I'm very sorry. But they have probably spent years in doing this book, years, for a publisher to go, well, it looks like a bee. The thing is, it's not even a hoverfly. It's a housefly. It's so completely different. This is amusing for me, obviously not for them, and it's very serious, and I'm very sorry. But things can go wrong. Here we go. Yeah, we get this every year, and it's like, oh no, here we go again. It's the giant mosquito issue. You get it a lot in the States. And yes, this isn't a fly. Well, this is a fly, but this isn't a mosquito. This is a crane fly. I spend my time defending crane flies because everyone goes, they're the deadliest insects. If only they could pierce your skin. Right, seriously, there's a lot of animals that can pierce your skin. Wouldn't they if they could? So it's just nonsense. They don't have venom, they don't pierce your skin. Many of the adults don't even feed, let alone blood feed. So this is when it gets a bit tricky because people are starting to think about them, the wrong things when it comes to killing them. This is one where this is actually a mosquito company set up to make insecticides. I've got so many issues with this slide. One, when did mosquitoes become their own order? I mean, it's fine, because most of my work is taken up with mosquitoes, so if we got rid of them out of flies, I've got a nice job. But the other thing, and what I do love, is it says the use of one pair of wings. The implication that it's got loads of them, but it only uses one to fly with. Like, oh, okay. And then, I don't know if you can completely see it, but the flies that say don't use blood, that's a tsetse. Now, unlike the song, I know with tsetse, not everything about them is so sexy, because the tsetsies are bloodsuckers. They're both, the males and the females are bloodsuckers. They are really quite bad. So if you follow this advice, you'll be like, yeah, it's all fine. No, death. I went on to a popular site for media where you could buy images of mosquitoes. And the first 6 images of mosquitoes were correct, so I was like, that's good. And then these were the second 6. Right. You've got 2 cartoons, which, you know what, we can have them as mosquitoes, that is absolutely fine. But then it goes a bit, woo. You've got 2 images of crane flies. Right, we've already discussed how far away crane flies are from being mosquitoes. So the one in the top right and the bottom left, they're crane flies. The one in amber, this is a dolichopodid, which I must admit have the most fantastic genitalia out. That is my first genitalia reference for people who know me. But the one in the middle and the bottom, right, I don't do mammals, but even I have the ability to recognize that's not a mosquito. So, I mean, this is all very funny, it's all very amusing, but there are problems with this because we do lose a lot of what the amazing insects that are flies do because of this misidentification. So, here we go again with the bees. So you go onto Instagram, and everyone's trying to say, save the bees. It's very important we save the honeybees, because the honeybees are going to save the planet. Now, okay, there's a few things I've got wrong with this. I've got issues with this. I've got a lot of issues. Seriously, I've got so many issues. But it's like, hold on a minute. Bees, as much as we think they're good, and their excretions are very important, we use them a lot. In fact, you probably like a bit of bee vomit for your breakfast. But as far as I know, they don't make the coffee to go along with it. In fact, this bit fills me with rage. It's the one thing I can sit there and go, back off, bees. This is not done by you. This is done, the chocolate is done by the little flies. Now, I'm not going to say that all the flies do it, and there is an ant that pollinates chocolate. There's a little moth. There are some gall midges, which are a type of fly, but the predominant fly that pollinates chocolate is this little beastie. Now, this little beastie, she's very cute, you've got to admit. Okay, fine. I think she's very cute, and the irony here is that I think chocolate is the most disgusting, revolting substance on the planet, and yet I adore the flies that you need to pollinate it. Now, this fly, these are the biting midges. If you ever go to Scotland, you know they're the scourge of Scotland, okay? They're very good bloodsuckers, but because they're very small, they're one of the few things that can pollinate chocolate. The chocolate, I describe the plant as the panda of the plant world. It's genuinely really quite bad at reproducing. And it's even worse now because we're making monocultures with this chocolate of the plant, and in doing so, we've got rid of the habitat that these midges like to live in. So our lack of understanding about the true pollinators of some of these plants is going to cause a worldwide destruction of the chocolate, which personally, I don't mind. Even if you don't like this fly for what it does with chocolate, you've got to like it because it spawned a fashion line. And not many insects do that. So their role of pollination is something that we're only just beginning to grips with. The adults are often covered in pollen, and this is great. They can migrate over huge distances. There's lots of work looking at migratory pollen hoverflies at the moment, and it's great. But what makes flies so funky is it's not just the adults that get up to all sorts of exciting stuff, it's their babies. So this is the life cycle of a fly. I will act it out for you. So it's very good. You're born, you eat, and eat, and eat, and eat, and then shag, and then die. But these, there we go, they're witnessing it for you there. A little bit of fly porn for you. But this eating bit is really important. And they get up to lots of different things in this eating process. This is the drone hoverfly, Eristelis tenax. It is one of the 6 top pollinators in the UK. Globally, this thing is really important. But not only is it important as an adult, its larvae are called the rat-tailed maggots. And any profession where I can talk about the telescopic anal spiracles is a good one. This loves nothing but waste. It gets rid of so much of our waste, and this is why maggots are brilliant. Again, look at those cute little faces. Nope, that's the anal spiracles again. Like, oh, aren't they cute? Nope, because they breathe out of their bottoms, which is a very useful trait. But these are getting rid of our waste, okay? I do these fantastic bar statistics, and we worked out that elephants defecate every day a mass of 1 million humans. Now, can you imagine if the flies, and I have to give credit for the beetles, and the beetles weren't here getting rid of that? You'll be swimming in a quagmire of your own feces. It's not a pleasant thought. Flies not only get rid of our decomposing waste, they get rid of our decomposing bodies, okay? Can you imagine this quagmire? You're swimming along, and there's great Uncle Roger, his body floating past you. And so this is why we need them. They're incredibly important. Here we go. Oh, by the way, note to self, when take a very important photo that's going to be shown to thousands of people, do clean your fingernails. Sorry about that. So in my hands here, my grubby little hands, I'm holding a jar of maggots that came from the 1930s. And these are amazing because this is the first time forensic entomology was used in a case to prosecute someone in the UK. Dr. Rackstone was a dapper doctor. So it's very much in the upper classes in Manchester. He married well, he was doing well, but as well as him being very intelligent, he was also very jealous. And he didn't approve of what his common law was getting up to, so he did what every man of that age did and killed her. And unfortunately for him, or her, sorry, or the housekeeper, she walked in on this, and so he killed her as well. It's not pleasant, but don't worry, thanks to that little jar of maggots, we were able to prosecute him, because we were able to understand the time frame of the maggot development, thanks to an entomologist in Glasgow University, to be able to work out when the bodies were put there and incriminate him in that action. So it's a very good case of the maggots doing well. We have learned a lot about forensic entomology in this time, and this is where all these new techniques are helping us understand so much more about what's going on. This is inside a pupa in real, well, this is speed up, but this is actually the development. We're using micro-CT tomography to actually understand what's going on. So now, instead of the police having to wait days or weeks for us to understand, we can tell them within hours when the flies turned up at certain bodies. So it's an amazing use of technology for all this. And what about, we've had the maggots, we've had the murder, what is the mayhem? The mayhem is the flies themselves. Every time you try and define what flies do, where they live, what they get up to, they come and laugh in your face. They are really annoying taxonomically, they are really annoying behaviorally because they do everything. Their annoyance is their splendor. And because so many of them live in a different different habitat, depending on their larvae to the adult. So these mosquitoes, beautiful, look at them. Wonderful creatures. The larvae are in aquatic. This is a very temporary environment, and the adults come out to the terrestrial environment. So you have them living in there, and then you have them living in other places. I don't know if you've been to Gil's site. You should have a look because his photography is amazing, but also his dedication to the entomological cause. I'm very jealous because this is his own botfly that he's grown. I'm yet to have one. I know a lot of people in this room have had one, and it makes me very jealous. So, not only do they do that, they've taken the basic body, look at them. Everything that you think is normal about being a fly, the one pair of wings, the one pair of halters, and they've completely changed themselves. This little walking teddy bear rides around on the back of honeybees. Okay, and it's completely adapted for its life cycle. Sadly, in not understanding it, in a lot of places, including mainland UK, we wiped it out. So instead of wiping out the mite in hives, we wiped out this poor little fly. No one cares, do you? A little bit? Thanks. Yay. So, I mean, well, there's a links reintroduction program in the UK. I'm going for this. I haven't quite got the publicity. Not just that, there are the ones that cause a lot of people to go, ooh, but they're fascinating. So once more, this fly is completely adapted to its environment, living on bats. It's got rid of its wings. It's got rid of its halters. Because it's got no muscles in the back, the head kind of plops out when it's not feeding off the blood of the bat. Brilliant. Look at the claws to enable it to hold on. This doesn't just morphologically look different. This flies in the face of what it means to be a fly, because they give birth to live young, okay? They're mothers. They nurture, thank you. They nurture their little offspring internally. She's got lactating glands on the inside. She cares. And I think we need to remember this. So we are just beginning to learn so much about these flies. These are a personal favorite of mine. These are robber flies, beautiful creatures. This is the hornet robber fly, Acilus crabroniformis, arguably the best animal in the UK. And they are vicious aerial predators. They are completely badass, but not to us. Okay, they're completely harmless to us. And as a woman of a certain age, I've got to appreciate them because many of the females have moustaches. But we are now looking at them because of their venoms. These are highly venomous creatures. they have new venoms to science. They have at least 10 new venoms to science, which we've only started researching. They, as like with the neglected pollinators, we fall into the neglected venomics groups. So this is something we're just beginning to understand. Beautiful images, by the way. I have to thank everyone for all of these that they've lent me. There's a lot of them.
In her 2017 work, The Secret Life of Flies, the entomologist Erica McAlister estimated that for each person on Earth, there are how many flies? The figure in question is about the population of Zambia or the Netherlands. You can have 3 million either way.
$6 million.
No, it's 17 million. Amazing, isn't it?
Thank you, Jeremy. And if these people had read the book, they would know they get everywhere. This is what's great. They get everywhere. They do everything. We can get flies in the tar pits of California. We can get them in the bottom of lakes 1,000 meters down. We can get them marauding the plains of Antarctica. And we can also get them in the sea. Honestly, this is a fly. And this hangs around in marine atolls and nice coastal areas of really nice places. Again, I haven't persuaded the museum to give me funding to go and find them. But it's the idea. And these little non-biting midges have an extraordinary life cycle. Most of it is spent in the sea, in the ocean, swimming around as larvae. And as adults, this is a male, they come to the surface. So he emerges as this adult, and this is him. Okay, he's a bit strange, he's a bit odd, and he looks a bit weird, because his front legs he now uses as an antennae to feel around, and the wings are completely deformed, and he uses them as paddles. Okay, he's rowing around the top, just doing what he's doing, but he has to be slightly more purposeful than your average male, because as an adult, he only has 2.5 hours to live. Now, the ladies, they can't even be bothered with this. This is why I'm coming back as a female fly. She doesn't even bother emerging. She just sticks her genitalia up in the air like she just don't care. And he has to row around to try and find it. Okay, it gets slightly more difficult at this point because she, as an adult, is only alive for half an hour. A little bit of tension. Yes. I always describe our gardens as like a 1980s nightclub. It's all about trying to cop off with everyone or beat them up. And flies definitely personify this world. So, what other animal goes through such an amazing transformation? What other animal that we see day in, day out can we see such marvels as all of this? We don't have to travel to Antarctica. We don't have to travel up the mountains. We can actually look at what's going on in our own garden. We can watch an animal blow its head up to escape from its intermediate home that it's made from its own skin. We can then watch it expand its wings to harden them. We can then watch it change for its skeleton, exoskeleton to harden and change color. And all of this can happen in a matter of minutes. My partner, who was a civilian, is a civilian, hi. I got to watch him in the summer this year with a little fly in his finger for 20 minutes, and his face was rapt. He loved it. He had never seen anything afterwards, and gosh, did he go on about it. But this is really good. This is what we can do. This is how we can convince the public what we are looking at these most amazing creatures. This isn't hidden. This is available, and Alex has done some amazing photography associated with them. Little bit of a hint. So what we do need to do is we need to carry on the great advocacy that most of you in this room are already doing. But in doing research for the second book and the first book, what is appalling is how little we know, okay? I have been trying to find out about all the different structures in a fly. What do? They have these things called calipters, which we really don't know what they do. All of these things, we don't know their life histories for most of that. Most of the flies in the UK, we do not know what their larvae are. So this is a huge amount of information we don't know. We don't know what they eat. We don't know what they feed on. How can we understand our environment, our ecology, if a lot of the creatures right under our nose we don't know anything about? We don't even know most of their names. So these need to be studied. These need to be marveled at. They need to be adored. Please look at them. They are some of the most engaging and amazing creatures on the planet. We need to communicate our knowledge of them, we need to spread our knowledge of them, and we need to convince the world that our subject is the best. And as I study flies, I know it is. So I would just like to say thank you for inviting me and listening, and thanks to all the people who made it possible for me to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. I told you it'd be good, and it was excellent. Such a great presentation by Erica. See, now she doesn't hate me so much. We have a gift for her for giving such a great presentation, and she will be down in the exhibit hall signing books. So please, join us down there. I want to mention too that she knows how to do Twitter, and some people don't, but she does, and if only everyone used Twitter the way she does, the world would be a much better place. And so follow her on Twitter if you haven't already. It's @FlyGirlNHM, correct?
Yep.
And so, want to give you this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Well, it's been a great evening. It's not over yet. We're actually ahead of schedule, which rarely happens, but for some reason, everything went very, very smoothly. And so we're so ahead of schedule that I have to tell you that the doors won't open till 7:15 in the exhibit hall, but that's where we're going next. Make your way to the exhibit hall. The doors will open at 7:15. You can stick around here for a while and move down there very slowly. And they're getting the food ready right now, so that's a good thing for everybody. And as I mentioned before, Erica will be signing books in the BioQuip booth. That's booth 114, or very near to the booth. And so with that, thank you all for a fantastic evening. Let's now party and cue up St. Louis Blues. Thank you.